Morning. Good morning. Welcome back. Been a few days. Hope everyone enjoyed their long weekend. We don't have any news today, so we should be able to trade uninterrupted as long as we find a setup that we like. I'll give everyone just a couple minutes to jump in, and then we'll get going this morning. All right, Kendrick, Yanus, good morning. Our week is holding for us. Oh, okay. Looks like they must have added something. So we got Barkin speaking. Oh no, that's last week. Sorry, that was last week. Here is this week. So nothing on today, Tuesday. FOMC minutes tomorrow. Got a busy Thursday, 8:30, 9:45, and 10. Nothing on Friday. All right, so it should be an interesting week news-wise. There's really only one big news event, and that's on Thursday. Unemployment claims and flash manufacturing is going to be announced. Tomorrow says FOMC minutes, so that's going to be a big deal as well. But there's no interest rates or anything being announced. Ocon, good morning. Good morning. Mm. All right, let's go ahead and get going so we make it to the opening bell. We'll start off with dollar as we normally do. These two black lines that are those key levels on the weekly that we have been looking at for the last, at least the last 5 to 6 weeks when we were down here on the weekly and we were pushing up towards this level. This was the first level was these equal highs we were looking at. That was the first level. And then the second level was, I believe it was here, but it was probably on the daily. This is probably a key level on the daily. But we ended up reaching both of those levels 2 weeks ago. We also reached both of those levels last week, both times rejecting. And so I had been projecting that we would go lower at some point, looking for a PD array to find some stability. And it looks like that's happening now. So if we drop down to the daily, we can see that over the past 2 weeks or so, this is probably the lowest we've been. We're sweeping lows from right here. This little point here. We're inside of a fair value gap right at the 50%. So it's an interesting level that the dollar is trading at right now. We'll keep paying attention to what's happening here. But if it keeps pushing and we close below the fair value gap, then the next level is going to be the next fair value gap with a potential pause somewhere around 50% of this candle. So somewhere in this area. I'm just eyeballing it. There may be a pause there, but I would be a little, my prediction would be a little stronger to go to the fair value gap here. And we drop down a few time frames. We can see a sweep of this low. Just recently, as we've been talking, a sweep of this low, and even on a 4 hour, there's a four hour as a fair value gap really close, a bullish one. So that's likely where it's going to go, and we'll see where it lands in this fair value gap, whether it bounces out and starts seeking higher prices, or whether it just kind of consolidates inside and plays around. But this is a pretty large area, so it may sit there all day or bounce back and forth all week. So we'll continue to pay attention to those levels on the dollar and also pay attention to the dollar selling off at least temporarily. All right, let's get back up to the daily. And we're going to go over to ES. All right. So the all-time high for ES was made early last week, I believe. Yep, Monday is what it looks like. Immediately following, we got to trade back into the zone, down below this previous swing point, and making relative equal lows here. We then saw it push back up, trying to make a new high. There was a failure to make that new high. You saw it trade back down on Friday. And now between Sunday night and the partial trading yesterday and where we are now, that failure, we're now going to go back and it looks like we might retest one of these wicks down here or potentially the candle body here, which we've already made a low about the median point of this candle body. So we want to pay attention to the equities this morning and see if it wants to push out of this or if we get some sort of sideways movement in this area or a continued breakdown. Right now, I'll hold off until I do NQ. Once NQ is done, then we'll expect S&P to follow, but it may be the weaker of the two. But for now, I'm going to reserve judgment until I do NQ. All right, let's see if we move down to the 4 hour. There was a small fair value gap here that was closed below on this candle. So there's going to be a push even lower. We see the last time it was in this fair value gap right here was middle of last week, and we saw it push out. So maybe it can find support there. So that is most likely our near time target. So that's 49.86. So it's about 15 points below where we are. And let's see where price reacts from there. All right, just below those levels at 49.86 that we just talked about on the 4 hour, we see several fair value gaps on the 1 hour. They're just not stretched over long enough, but they're all still active. And price could trade into it if we see a deep retracement. We go back to the 4 hour. So when we get here, if we start seeing price towards the bottom half of it, you see that gets down to 476. Then we go back to the 1 hour. 476, right? It's this larger one in the center. Just make this bigger so you can see. 476 would be right here. So this will be a confluence between the 1 hour and 4 hour having fair value gaps in the same area. So my guess is price is going to break down to here, and then we'll see if it wants to push back up towards the top. All right, let's get into NQ. Let's see if we can't finish this up before the opening bell. I think we can. We're doing good with time so far. All right, similar story. Tried to make a new high towards the end of last week. We have a failure. So now you see price trading towards these lows. We have a wick. It could trade towards midpoint of this wick. It could trade below this level here at 17,561, which are basically equal lows for 1, 2, 3 candles. These here. So we could see a trade below there, find some support and push back up. Here on the daily, I don't see anything just yet. I need to move to a smaller time frame. Okay. 17,580 is the next fair value gap on the 4 hour. Also, midpoint of the wick is around 604. So 604 and 580. But right now it's 660. So it's less than 100 points away. Both of those levels are within reach. And here we are, the 3 equal lows on the 4 hour, plus the one that actually took that liquidity, but it didn't take it by much. So they're still available to be swept below, and then we can see some sort of bullish push out of it. Right. See this fairly large fair value gap was created on Monday to February the 5th. Those equal lows we keep talking about in all the time frames is within that area. So if we trade down to sweep below the lows, know that on the 1 hour, there's a huge fair value gap that it's sitting inside of. And so, as I mentioned, you sweep below and then you look for bullish activity. That could be a nice area to do that, especially with the fair value gap giving us that type of ability once we reach that level. And again, the level is down around 560-ish. Yep, 553. Fair value gap actually starts at 577. So that's how large that area is. I think we're gonna rest on the 5 minute mostly. We'll watch this morning from the 5 minute. There will be times where I'll also watch from the 15. And during the macros, of course, we'll move down to the 1 minute just so we can see any shifts in market structure or break of structure of any kind. So we'll definitely do that. And when we get to 10 before the hour to 10 after the hour. And again, I want to welcome all the subscribers back from a long weekend, and anyone brand new, who just discovered us. Welcome this morning. I hope that you're satisfied with the program. If there are any questions you have, go ahead and throw it in the chat, and let's make sure that we answer those as quickly as possible. And that's all I got. Opening bell in 1 minute. Okay, I think I neglected to go over the session highs and lows. So London low, it's already taken out at 5 o'clock this morning. London high has not been touched since it was made, so London high is still open. Then as we look at the Asia session low was swept by London at 3:30. And the Asia session high. Okay. So we had, during the Asia session yesterday, we had a big push down, pretty much from the onset, 1800. And then we had another push down around 2030, around 8:30. So the Asia high is actually up at 17,793. So let's keep an eye on those two levels as we go through today. We have a new week opening gap here at 722. So that's this orange area, and those are going to be our key levels today. Right. Good morning, Chuck, Tommy, Clinks, Sniper. Welcome back, guys. All right. I did notice we had trend line liquidity on the 15 minutes. So let's see if we break that. And that's essentially from like here. If we're able to break this and close above, we have at this next swing point is also the new week opening gap. We move the fair value gap out of the way. All right, so I think we can drop this. It has no relevancy anymore. And we have the London high at 724 and the Asia high way above. 725. Almost got there. Not quite. Let's drop down. Yeah, sniper, you never know, especially with this wick that this candle's putting on, because it looks the same on the 15-minute. And yeah, yeah, that was the thing. It's like I was looking at NQ and NQ looked like it might buy, but then ES was not saying that. And it's also normal for it to be not be correlated or for there to be some cracks in correlation today. Gotta remember today is we're coming off of a bank holiday, a long weekend. And so while there was trading on Sunday evening and there was trading Monday morning during the London session, um, it was an abbreviated session and it was an absence of the U.S. market. And so there may be some catching up by one or multiple markets before everything's correlated again. Okay, 17,550. Okay. All right, so I put back up that trend line I had, and I thought it pushed far enough past that it was going to stay above. And we can see it's made a full retracement back to the opening value of the range. So um, I'm not going to leave the line up, but I do want to show that it did not it did not close above. We still have another 8 minutes, but as of now, it is not closed above. All right, retest of the London low coming up. All right, we'll see if it will push below the most recent low prior to the move up, and then the consolidation, the expansion through the opening bell, the rejection out of the new week opening gap. All right, good morning, Vivian. All right, so we had the opening candle open and move 65 points up. Next candle open and move 65 points down, and now we see a continuation. All right, so now we are bearish on all time frames from the 5-minute all the way up to the 4-hour. The 4-hour is our next low, next target low. Price now finally entering the fair value gap on the 4-hour. So we'll see if it finds any stability or if it continues to push lower, and then we'll go and find a new target. One standard deviation would be at 528, 17,528 would be one standard deviation. All right, A. Good job. Way to go. Good morning. Okay, we had our opening frame on the 15-minute. This is the candle here. Quite a range there. Looks like we had a high of 724 and a low of 559, so 160 points or so. Sorry, I did the math pretty quickly there, so I may have messed up. But didn't realize my picture hadn't been there since the opening bell. All right, Fred, good morning. So it sounds like A dot was able to catch the short there. Anybody else catch the short? Okay, great. There you go. Good job. Yeah, Vivian, I'm in the same boat. I prefer not to trade before 10 as well. I had in my demo account, I had a long setup um, from before the opening bell, probably around 8:45 or so. I was sitting here looking at the charts, and that ended up cashing out because I had it somewhere around these highs. And so when this big move moved up, it ended up cashing it out. So, but it was a demo account, so didn't count towards my combine. Yeah, you're right, Vivian. I have noticed that 9:45 is not a bad time to get in. Clinks. All right, 100 points. Excellent. Wow. So let's see. Hmm. All right, looks like we might challenge these lows and continue lower. Remember, we have a swing point here at 542. That's the first black line you see below us. And then one standard deviation measurement is at 528. Crab Nation, good morning. Yeah, it depends. You can decide how you want to do it. A dot. If you want to do ticks, you can say just show me ticks, which is 4 ticks equals 1 point, or you can do dollars. It depends on how you set up your parameters. So on Nasdaq, it depends. If you're doing mini, so this is E mini. So you're doing E mini. Each point is worth $20, or each tick is worth $5. But that's on the minis. But if you do micros, it's going to be much less than that. I think it's divided by 10. So it's $2 per point and 50 cents per tick. 590. All right. Okay. Nice little pullback entry. All right, Sniper. Congrats. You hit TP. Yep. So this would be the first low at 542. And then standard deviation is just a measurement. Trying to think, where did I pull that from? I think standard deviation is coming from here. Yep. It was done at the higher time frame. So this here was just a wick, and the bodies stopped here. And so that's why you see right here 1 standard deviation right there. Sniper's done for the day. Awesome. Hey, 2 minutes before the hour. 2 minutes for anyone looking for a silver bullet. You got 2 minutes before you start looking. Just looking to see if we start going higher or we continue lower. And see if we get a trade above this fair value gap and it continues on and test this level, 17,600. All right, before it got 1 point or a couple ticks away from sweeping the low that we identified on the 15 minute. It was either the 15 minute or the hour. We saw a swing low and that level is marked up at 542. We're just a couple ticks away, and then it started to retrace. So that level was never swept. So we'll see where it is now. Right now, it seems like it's about halfway in between this range. All right, so it looks like it wants that low. Okay, 1001, 1001. And first swing low's been taken now. Looking now and see if it makes that measurement of a full standard deviation. Let's pick this back up to the 5 minute. There's that standard deviation being traded through. And we're still bearish on all time frames from the 5 minute to the 4 hour. And a lower time frame so far, the first 10 minutes or so of this hour so far hasn't brought much price action, but we did get from the high down to the low here, we got nearly a 200-point drop from opening bell until 10 o'clock. So it's not surprising that price is slowing down just a bit right now. Let's watch this just on the lower time frame for 1 minute while we close out this macro, just to make sure there wasn't any break of structure. And all we really got was a continuation to the downside. 952. And again at 10:01, 2, 3, these candles. All right, we continue to see that when price breaks a new low, it trades back into internal range liquidity, finds a fair value gap, extends past a previous low, making new external range liquidity, trading back to an internal range, whether it's this fair value gap or whether it trades to this one. And then it's seeking lower values again. And so now we'll we'll look and see if the standard deviation level. We did see a low of 17,527, and we'll see if we go lower than that. All right, macro's over. I'll move back up to the 5-minute. Right, here's the hourly fair value gap I was discussing earlier. You see prices continuing to push further south. It's nearly a complete meltdown. All right, well, we're watching price. Let's go ahead and check on the comparison chart. We normally do that every hour or so. Right here, I want to point your attention to, so we saw that we were selling on the dollar. So last hour we sold off, continued selling after the opening bell. And now we see a little retracement coming during this hour. But if we move over to the Dow, the last hour was a major sell-off. We were watching the Nasdaq from the opening bell all the way till 10 o'clock. Look at what the Dow did. It did the complete opposite. Now it didn't close above the fair value gap, so now we see it failing here, and then we see a big push down coming from starting this hour. But the fact that last hour was a complete buy, whereas the S&P and Nasdaq were selling off. Right now, Nasdaq looks like the weaker of the pairs, with the biggest retracement experience so far. But we'll keep monitoring this dynamic to see when the Dow catches up. If it does, I mean, it does have equal lows here. So for the Dow to push for lower values is, um, I guess, kind of predicted, especially with the other two already pushing lower. It's just surprising that it didn't do it last hour when the other two did. Yep. All right, let's see how it does inside of that 15-minute fair value gap. You see the dark area here where the candle body stopped. This is a 15-minute fair value gap inside of a 1 hour. And this candle here, this last one here, closed a 15-minute candle. So this was 10:10 to 10:15. So on the 15-minute, that was the end of the candle right at the lower edge of the fair value gap. What is the Dow aiming for? As the Dow starts pushing lower, it's going to aim for these two wicks here with the same value down here at 38,524. I think this is where it's going to push for first. But to the left, there's another equal low set up here at 512, 38,512. But keep in mind, there's also a bullish fair value gap here. So when it hits this area, it should slow down and either bounce up a little bit. But I would say the first level is right here at 524. And this is if you're looking at the hourly. If you're looking at a smaller time frame, the 15 or the 5 minute, you might find something in here that it finds first. But as far as what I'm looking at on this higher time frame, I'm looking for 524. we lose a level here, I'm thinking we could go anywhere between 430 and 465. So that's like the lower 10% of this fair value gap down to about here. So somewhere in this range here at the bottom of the screen. You can see even on the lower time frame, so far there hasn't been many fair value gaps created since we've been bearish. There's this one that was created here right around 10 o'clock. Okay, on the 1 minute there were several, but outside of the 1 minute, it's a bit scarce. Hey, Laughter, good morning. You're short on ES, okay, right. Well, shorts have been winning this morning, so you're probably in a good position. But yeah, it's been a good morning so far. Good to be back. Yeah, I know. Holiday Mondays and even the day after is not always the best day to trade. And this morning provided a great short if you wanted to take it on the opening bell, but if you don't trade the opening bell, it pretty much left you behind. Right. So in the 1 minute we have, I don't know how well you can see it on your screen. I have a couple bearish fair value gaps here. We had a rejection here, which pushed price down, rejection there, push price down some more, creating a new one, rejected out of it once. Now just rejected out of it a second time. All the bearish fair value gaps so far have been holding up regardless of time frame. The Dow's still pushing up. Okay. It sure is. It's an odd number. So I wonder which will reverse first. Will the Dow push bearish or will ES and Nasdaq push bullish? Yeah, it'll probably be interesting to see where we close out this hour. The Dow is still inside of a bearish fair value gap on the hourly time frame. So let's see if it can close above and continue bullish, or if it rejects and we start finally seeing lower prices from the Dow. We're just getting to halfway point of the hour, so we're just at 10:30. Let's wait until the hourly closes. I think we were looking for potentially 465 down to 430. It's the next area I was pointing to. For 403. Okay. All right. We're trading at levels we haven't seen since February the 2nd. So it's been a little over 2 weeks since we were back down at this level. It'll be an interesting candle. Let's see how it closes up for us. And based on this cluster candle, depending on where this this current candle closes, I may start looking for something towards the end of this hour. Hmm. You just take a look at ES and just see how price action is doing over there on the lower time frame. We normally never take a look at the Dow, but let's also see what's keeping price so high over here. Right. So right now it's trading right at the new day opening gap. This little orange band right here. For whatever reason, it traded after it made the highs at 9:30, just like the other indices. It traded back down, creating a gap, traded into it once, traded into it twice. But for whatever reason, it's not trading lower than that. This fair value gap here has not even been retested once. So we'll just keep that in mind, and hopefully the other two will get on board. Otherwise, what we'll get is a breakdown in the Dow, and we'll start seeing price build up on the dollar, which is not what we were hoping based on the weekly and daily price action we saw for the dollar. Um, but again, this is the day right after a holiday, so there's a lot of price action that happened in the last couple of days that wasn't normal, and so it's natural for it to need some time to get back into correlated price action. So it's fine. We'll just be patient, not rush anything, and hopefully things will open up for us by the end of the hour. Get back over to NQ. I was hoping the last candle would have been bullish. I thought this candle was going to finish somewhere up in this area, but it finished slightly bearish. but I was hoping for the opposite. We still have there's still an opportunity at the end of the hour, but some things need to happen between now and about 10:50, 10:55. Okay, slightly bullish candle, but an inside range candle at that. So didn't make a new high, didn't take out the high of the previous candle. We did on this candle we're in right now, but the previous candle did not do it. So we'll still want to see where does this candle that's currently being constructed. We'll want to see where that where it closes at. We still have another 3.5 minutes, so it's plenty of time. There's a swing high right here that we want to see if it can trade above, and that's at 548. Okay, another minute before the closure here. Decent, not great. I was hoping it would push up a little higher. Would have been more into the 530s. Okay, it's a little bit of energy there. Oh, my opinion about tomorrow on FOMC. Yeah. It really depends on how we close out today. Which levels we take, what price action's looking like. So let's address that this afternoon. Yeah, definitely don't trade FOMC. If you want to trade, you can try to end your trades by the morning. If not, then you're gonna have to wait until afterwards. So you won't be trading until 2:45, 3 o'clock, somewhere in that range. 17,466. All right, Jay. Good morning, Dustin. Hmm. Yeah, it's all about the dollar buying, and I was thinking it was just buying up to the bearish fair value gap, and then it'll start moving lower again. So I knew it was just a matter of time before the equities market start moving, and that's why I was waiting for the end of the hour, hoping that it will give the dollar enough chance this hour to trade into the fair value gap and start to push lower. All right, one more minute on this candle. It's not that awful. We have consecutive 3, 4 candles in a row moving in one direction. It's yeah, I like it. I like it better when you can at least get some consecutive candles and you see a clear direction. And it's just back and forth. I generally don't like those too often. But we'll take a low risk here and see if we can't get in and ride this one up to one of these swing highs. we can go break even here. Oh, Queen, good morning. Welcome. All right, everyone, just bear with me for a couple minutes. I need to refill my drink this morning. Just give me 2 minutes, please. Okay. Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, we did have a nice drop at the opening bell. 9:30, it just tore through. 200-point drop. Let's see, 1 hour. Did it break? It did break a previous high. Yes, it did. The Dow did. Sit there. All right, we'll close it out. It's a bit disappointing. Got half of what my TP was going to be, but a win is a win. We'll take it. Good start to the week. You asked, did the 1 hour candle break on Dow? Crab, what did you mean by did the 1 hour break? Oops. We're looking at the 1 hour on the dollar. Or I'm sorry, on the Dow. You said did the 1 hour break? Were you talking about this level? Because in that case, yes, it did. It did break that level. Okay. Oh, you were talking about this fair value gap. And yes, it did close above. I was waiting to see if it would close above or if it would trade back into, and it did close above. Yeah, I was thinking that it would do something like this when it was going up. It would have traded into the fair value gap somewhere and then traded back down. But it continued up and closed above. So for now, we're not looking for bearish prices on the dollar. Well, we did have a structure break here, but you want to see it close above. In fact, it's not even there. You want to see it close above here. So 38,747, you want to see it trade above and close above. Okay, and that'll confirm bullish for you. Actually, let me take that back. Nope, I take that back. It's been bullish. It's been bullish since here. Been bullish since here. So this right here, confirmed bullish. This candle, the 9 o'clock candle. Let me just make sure I'm not speaking out the side of my head. No, it's hard to see on this small screen. Give me a second. Let me pull it up on one of my larger screens. All right. So yes, confirmed. It was on the 9 o'clock candle. That confirmed bullish sentiment there. And we had a further bullish candle that just closed above the previous one. So yes, Dow is showing bullish on the hourly. Which is still odd because we're still not looking bullish on the other two. And we're also not bullish on the dollar either. So it'll be interesting to see how we come out of lunch with the Dow being bullish, but the other two still being bearish along with the dollar. So, interesting price action this morning. Definitely no correlation between the indices. Okay, return to the order block. Granted, still on the 1 minute. Let me shift up to the 5 minute. It looks better on the 1 for now. I just want to see if this order block holds. Oh, Deepak, morning. If you're enjoying the live stream this morning, don't forget to hit the like button. The more of you hit the like button, the more it encourages YouTube to push the video out to other traders, other people searching for similar items or the exact same thing that you search for. I will shift back up to the 5 minute now. All right, if anyone jumped in at the order block, there was 20 points right there. London highs. Oh, the London highs at 725. Thank you. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate it. Might see London highs during lunch hour. Okay. Yeah, you're right. We could see some good price action during lunch actually, to where there's a good amount of movement, and we can push up towards this midnight open and the 8:30 open, which are right next to each other. The low is 557.5. Okay, so we have the Dow pulling back again. Triple five. As high is triple five and a half. Okay, dipped in by 2 ticks. Yeah, I was looking to try to find a breaker in here and try to figure out which one was the best one to use. The 3 minute time frame was the highest time frame to have 2 candles, consecutive candles. The one in the 2 minute didn't. Well, the 2 minute did, but it was down here. Um, so on a 3 minute, this is the lowest area with consecutive candles. So I drew this one up, and it looks like we already tapped right to the edge of it with the previous 3 minute candle. So we'll see if this one holds, but I'm a little optimistic on this one right now. All right, we're almost halfway through the hour, so we got about another 35 minutes in this morning session. All right, Tommy, catch you in the afternoon session. All right, so my TP that didn't hit earlier, we now have relative equal highs. Make it easier for price to go and get that level later, whether it be in the next half hour or during lunch or this afternoon. Mm, got it. Let's move up in time frame and see if there's something else that we missed. Okay, 4 minute. I don't like these wicks above. These wicks above look like rejection wicks. We also have some below over here, so it's kind of, playing both sides of the table, but not a fan of those wicks. That's for sure. Let's just measure and see how large this area is, just in case we see a full scale retracement. We've already made it past 50%. 60% is at this little small fair value gap. So I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of the Fibonacci. All right. Okay, we got another 15 seconds. Let's see where this candle closes. I'll pull the breaker out one more time just so we can see. Looks like it's pushing towards the breaker low. All right, it's now broken it. It's a strong 1 minute candle. Let's see if it pushes through. In fact, let me get back up to the 3 minute just so we're looking at the same time frame. All right, for the hour, so far this hour, we have all three indices selling and we have the dollar buying. So finally we have that correlation. The only problem is the Dow. Price action looks much different than the S&P and Nasdaq. Okay, so we got a immediate rebalance here on the 3 minute breaker. We got immediate rebalance from 2 candles ago. Make sure there's no fair value gap there. Now let's see what this candle does. I wouldn't say the Dow is on its way down. It's retracing at the moment. It's true. But again, let's see how the candle closes. Let's see how it finishes up. And let me just test something. They always say that when price breaks a high, it'll retrace back to 50% of the manipulation leg. So let's look and see if that's true. 50% of this manipulation leg down would be I know it's hard to see. Nope, did not trade at 50%. That would be down at 515. Oh, hey, Ray, good morning. What's going on? Already had a higher close on this candle. Let's see what the next one does. Yeah, so the last leg up that Ray's talking about is from January 24th until around February 12th. And 71% retracement from that bullish leg is 520, which is right here. So this is the optimal trade entry sweet spot just below where we are. But we've already traded to it over here once. So it's right here at 520. And again, that's a 71% retracement of the last bullish leg from pretty much end of January through mid-February. Yep, it's coming. Especially for those who like to trade lunch. This could be a good start onto lunch price action. We have the macro coming in about 3 minutes. Hmm. Okay. All right, we still have the 15-minute in the bottom left corner. I'll put the 1 minute on the big screen. Robin, so what you do in the macros, what you're looking for is, so on a higher time frame, you have um, some sort of expectation from a PD array. Like, let's say this is on the 15-minute, this is a fair value gap down here. I'm looking in the bottom left-hand corner. So if I was looking for price to bounce out and push higher, then I would look for, as price is building down during the macro, I would look for that price structure to change and to go from being bearish to turning into bullish and start some sort of momentum in the direction that I'm hoping price would go. So you want to start with your higher time frame, and you want to have some sort of target in mind. You also want to have a reaction to where price is right now in mind, and then you just go down to the 1 minute and you use this 20-minute time frame for that change to happen. And if it doesn't happen in this 20-minute time frame, then you just move on and you wait for the next one. All right. Hey, Robin. I watched this video over the weekend, which I found very useful. I believe it was recommended by Unicorn Queen. So check this one out, and it'll give you some more information on macros and how to trade it when it change. In this video, it's called change of state of delivery, but it's very similar to a market structure shift, which is what you'll hear me talk about. So check out that video. It's not too long, but it's very informative and pretty straightforward and easy to follow. Hey Queen, that was Trader Tim video on the change of state of delivery that you recommended. I checked that out this weekend. It was really good. So I just threw the link for Robin to watch so she can get more familiar with macros. All right, so one thing to note is we did sort of change that state of delivery coming down by sweeping low over here, which would essentially more than a state of delivery. That's more of a market structure shift, where state of delivery is when you had the big bullish movement out of here. So now that we've flipped that and we've taken out, I believe we've taken this low as well. As you head into lunch, where you want to pay attention to now is what happens to this high. Okay. Yeah, I'll check out a few more of his videos, but the one that I did watch, I think he released it on Thursday or Friday, but it was really good. Selling it? Okay. Dow was looking better. Let's see what the Dow is doing. Yeah, it's definitely coming down. And Dow is just now hitting a fair value gap on the 1 hour. So keep that in mind if you're trading the Dow. Now it could recorrelate with the other two and just continue selling and take out some of the levels that Nasdaq and ES have taken out already. So you could see Dow push even harder, but my guess is the Dow is going to fall short of what the others are doing and either consolidate or start buying. Yeah, it definitely looks like it's being disrespected. And I was waiting for the last candle, so it just got invalidated just now. So this candle closed below. So we'll get rid of that. Still had the one, but all right. So on the 1 minute, all you got is this last line of defense, which is a fair value gap. And after that, we got 17,483, which is a swing low. Seventeen four 65, another swing low. Right now, price is at the new week opening gap of January 28th through February 2nd. Small little area right here between 504 and 502. Okay, it's now broken that area. Let's get back over. All right, everyone. I want to thank you for joining the session this morning and for your participation, your support of the channel. That concludes our morning session. I hope you got something from it, or at least didn't get hurt too bad if you were in a trade that didn't work out. Many people did disclose that they were in winning trades this morning, so congrats to all. As a reminder, we have another session at 1300. So in 1 hour, I'll take a break, and then we'll be back for the afternoon session. Thanks everyone for joining. I'll see you then. For the first minute, the Dow was really pushing.